So the presentation today is called Prescription for a Crisis, featuring LinkedIn, Facebook, and email. I'm your presenter and instructor, Mike O'Neill. I've twice been considered as a Forbes Top 50 social media influencer. So I'm going to share what I know about these three topics together. It's in this order. It's mostly about LinkedIn with some Facebook and some email complementing the process. I've been at this a very long time, since the early days of LinkedIn. I was a real early expert. I was the 10th person to hit 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. Just been very committed to this for a long, long time, and the many things that go with LinkedIn as well. One of those things is Facebook. So as long as I can remember, I've been on Facebook as well. But LinkedIn is primarily where business is done, and Facebook lets us use some query and some investigative things that we might or might not use on Facebook itself. You'll see what I mean here. So I wrote a book in 2010 on LinkedIn profiles and making your presence really spiffy. Spiffed it up some more in 2015 with some more enhancements on how to build your brand some more. And then in 2020, I've really teamed up with Facebook, LinkedIn and Facebook, and email, obviously, to present this program that comes together, brings them all together in a team. So LinkedIn's important because half of the United States is on LinkedIn. Half of the country is. Almost all of the business people are. Facebook is even more important to some folks because even more people in America are on it. It deals with their personal lives. So we've got business lives, personal lives, all in one package here. So based on my book here, you'll see this program, Prescription for a Crisis, and the book itself is 100 and some pages in full color, coming out very soon, maybe by the time you see this. So the first step in our process is to modernize. We're not ready for this. We have to dress up. Call it a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of hairspray. We have to make ourselves look ready. So that on the LinkedIn world means we've got to do some improvements to our LinkedIn profile. No big deal. I'm not going to show you all of the stuff you could be doing. We got a few things we need to focus on. First of all, let's make sure it's current. It is not out of date, okay? One out of how many are, right? You go to your own profile, you go like, wow, we don't do that anymore. I don't work there anymore, okay? So first of all, let's just make sure we're current. We're going to tell our story a little bit in our profile. If there's something that's happened over the last 10 years since I wrote my first LinkedIn profile book is the concept of telling your story. It was important then, but it's snowballed. Maybe we're ahead of our time talking about it then, but we're not now. Everyone has a story to tell. The story starts with your photo. It's the immediate look. Now this is Charlie here. Charlie's smiling. He's wearing the right clothes. And with some photo editing software, we can even make him not have that little twist to him. See? LinkedIn can do that. You can zoom in and out and straighten. So as long as you've got a big enough picture to begin with, you can even crop people out, if you know what I mean, within LinkedIn. Really nice. The next part is the image above your head. Okay, we call it a background image. So there might be an image that you have for the company or one that has a company look to it. Even if you're a company of one, it's about the company. I do quick and easy location-based backgrounds for people as we're getting started. So I put up the mountain picture or the skyline of your city is what I do if you don't have mountains. I'm in Minnesota. We don't, but we got a dandy skyline of our downtown area. Or there's graphics that you can put up, and that can just kind of set the tone. So there's two places I recommend, Pixabay and Canva, to get pictures and images for this, all right? When you bring an image in, you can load it up. You can load it in and move it up and down a little bit. No left and right, just up and down. So if you're going to get it just right, realize you're going up and down and try to stay away from that lower left corner because your picture is going to be in front of it. So if you have text like new where's that departure going? I don't know, a city, probably New York, Chicago, London, maybe. We shouldn't be wondering. Nothing should be cut off. So when we're telling our story, we're going to do it in a summary sort of way. It used to be called the summary. It's now called the about section. And it's where you get to tell your story in about 2,000 characters. And that's about a whole printed page. So you're wondering, what should I write? You should write about a whole printed page. Not crammed in, not double spaced, what it looks like. When you paste it in, you'll see if it's too big or not. So the work experience section for your current position, especially if it's your own company, is especially important as well. So if you're in a sales or marketing sort of role, these are really matter. The work experience area matters a lot if you're in a sales and marketing sort of role. Now you're going to generally write this in a Google Doc or in a Word file or someplace and copy and paste it in, all right? The LinkedIn box in front of you is not the creative partner that you're looking for, all right? So copy, paste. Now the area at the top, the area that our friend needed to update is really important. So this text up here is what people see when you're doing things out there as you're marching around on LinkedIn. We call it a digital footprint. So this stuff is what you leave behind, that picture, that name, that bunch of words right there. So optimize that. It matters a whole lot. So your digital footprint, there we go. So as you do things on LinkedIn, you leave those tracks behind. And this is an example here. So there's one. You can see his background image. You can see his picture. You can see his headline text. So what matters the most is his picture and his headline text, because that's that digital footprint there. But the rest of it sets the tone, or not, right? Or not. You're fully in control of this. There's so many things in social media out there that you're not in control of, but you're fully in control of this, and this is putting wind beneath your sails. This is just part of getting ready, okay? This is that modernization. I've got at the end, you'll see a profile guide here, an info guide, 4-pager on how to optimize your profile using the fit-in principle, keywords and all the things that matter so that you get found, at least you get in the search, and the standout principle that makes you look better than anyone else. And you can see on the right there some of those little fancy characters can play a role. Their headshot matters a whole lot. More on that at the very end. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do next? We've done our modernization. We're all set. All right. We looked the part. Okay. So what are we going to do next? Well, our prescription from the prescription for a crisis process says we're going to use LinkedIn and Facebook and email, and we're going to focus on friends, empathy, and barter. And you'll learn all of this here coming right up. Friends. Okay, not the TV show Friends, but I do like the TV show Friends very much. With friends, we're talking about folks we already know. Okay. When I say friends, folks we already know. It's a matter of where we know them, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and email. But they're not strangers. That's coming up. These are folks that should be very comforting to outreach to. We've touched them for the most part. We have a know, like, and trust factor already built up with these people. They know us already. They probably like us. They trust us at least a little bit, right? That's what matters. Otherwise, they're not part of this here. If there's not any know, like, and trust, they're part of some other program. Okay. When I say folks we know, on LinkedIn, I'm talking about connections. Now, they might be people who should be connections, and you're going to discover that here. My God, some people fell through the cracks, all right? They're friends on Facebook, okay? Just existing friends. We're not going to build our friends network on Facebook, but we are going to build up our connections, all right? And then the contacts that come from your Gmail or your Outlook or somewhere out there. These are the folks you know. This is where they're at. There may be other places too, but this is the scope of what we're going to cover here so we can get to the end of it. Empathy, remember? Friends, empathy, and barter. Empathy next. Empathy is being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to walk a mile in their shoes. And on top of it, this is part of the expanded definition of empathy, is knowing when to reach out. You wait until the other party is done because, the story can change in the last quarter, in the last end of a game. Can't the game change? And yes, here it can as well. That story that you're hearing changes, my gosh, at the end. And if you butt on in, if you say, oh, I know how I can help you, that may not be what they really need help with. We'll talk about how and ways to help here in just a moment. Empathy is about understanding wants and needs. How can I help you? What are your wants? What are your needs? What are my wants and needs? They fall into these buckets, personal buckets, very near and dear. Those could be health related. Okay? Your business bucket's something else. All of these buckets are kind of covered in this presentation. So when we're talking about folks we already know, we have a message that we're going to send to them. Generally speaking, this message might happen on LinkedIn, but not necessarily. It's a message, okay? And where it goes, that's coming up. It's a message. Friends, empathy, and barter. So the barter prospect is one of satisfying these wants and needs, okay? Let's explore that a little bit more. The idea of how can I help you? What do I have in my quill of things that might help you get to the next something? Push the rock forward a little bit. By all means, help you create a better image of myself. Because down the road, when this process and this crisis isn't around, we're going to remember folks that said, how can I help, right? We should remember them. I'm going to remember them, and so are you, and so will the folks that you reach out to. So we're going to need to ask. We're having conversations, be it via in conversations on text or video or phone or whatever here. We need to ask, what do you need? It's not obvious. Okay? If we share our wants and needs, we'll kind of go second. The person who goes first here gets a brownie point. Tell me, how can I help you? Instead of, let me tell you how you can help me. But when you share yours, they might go back and say, oh, you know what? I really could use some help on Tuesday nights. I got something blah, blah, blah going on. Or, I'll use an example here. I was sharing wants and needs with one of my nearest and dearest. And he shared how he was building a laptop, a Windows XP laptop, and he didn't have the power supply for it. Now, this is a really old machine, and he didn't have a power supply for it. We were talking, and I said, hold on. So I went back, and I found my old laptops. I got out my power supplies from, and I said, do either of these look like they'd work? And he looks at him. He has me hold up the connector up to the front, right up to the front of it, like right up to the front of it. And he goes, I think they both work. So I said, well, hey, I'll get this to you. I'm in your part of town every week or two. Even under the crisis here and lockdown and all, I'm there, and I'll bring them to you. Bring your laptop. We'll see if they fit. See if it powers up. And when he goes, well, Mike, you're the Chrome guy, aren't you? And I said, yes, I'm the Chrome guy. I do everything in Chrome. Love Chrome. I'm the Google Chrome guy and everything. And he goes, I got this Chromebook I was using for a project, and the project's over. I don't need it. Frankly, don't want it. I kind of feeling I got that he's offering me something that, frankly, I value a great deal. And it turned out it's a 15-inch Chromebook, an Acer Chromebook, a $500 item, still a current model. And it smokes. It's really fast. Because we were talking about our wants and needs, our mutual wants and needs. I got a Chromebook. He got what he needed. Hallelujah. I have many, many more stories to tell like that. But that's a great one since I'm sitting on a machine that's about a 15-inch right here. So as we share ours and you share yours, we share how we can help, not just myself, but, my spouse, my family, my assets, my stockpile of inventory. Whatever we have that we don't need, that we can share out here. Okay? Be thinking in this case about what can have the biggest bang for the buck. I can do an hour with someone on the phone and have a huge, tremendous bang for the buck. Tremendous. Especially in certain cases. In other cases, the big bang for the buck is something else, like the laptop or the power supply. I had a huge example. So if you're out of ideas, if you just can't think of anything, and it may come, I just can't think of how I can help. You're in that situation. They may be thinking each other. Well, don't know how we can help each other. Well, maybe we can make introductions for one another. Maybe we're not the person, but we know somebody out there that needs something that maybe we sell or provide or enjoy doing. Right? At the very least, we can probably push a key, don't you think? If asked, would you like something for me now and then? I'd be happy to do that for you. Even comment on your stuff. The whole comment of idea of sharing is the trifecta here, right? So at the very least, at the end of a call together, you might be like this. God, I really enjoyed having someone to talk to, and I'm happy now. Woke up today with less happiness in my life, and here I am. That might just be what it's about. This is the prescription process. Reaching out to folks we already know. So we'll get a little more detailed in it. The process, though, starts right here. We're not planting trees. We're planting vegetables. We're planting in the garden. How long does that take, right? How long does it take until you planted something in the ground? It's a matter of months, right? This process is also a matter of months. We're not waiting for trees to grow and all that. We're literally going to plant some things in the ground and going to be able to harvest them in a matter of not even weeks, but maybe months, okay? In some cases, weeks. Action time. All right, here we go. Taking action time. It starts, like I said, with folks we know, okay? On LinkedIn, this is an example I'll use. Folks I know in my own market, okay, in my own city. So I live in the Twin Cities. There's that background skyline I was telling you about that I like so much. So now I have friends and folks I know that are not in the Twin Cities, as we say as well. Okay, that's another search. This is one specific thing, locals. All right. So in Facebook, there's something quite similar. People that I'm connected to in my current city. Those are my locals. LinkedIn locals, Facebook locals. That's where it starts. Okay, that's a great place to start. We're going to find these folks on LinkedIn and Facebook, right? LinkedIn and Facebook. That's the goal here. But that does not mean that we're going to reach out on LinkedIn or Facebook in all situations. If I'm already texting or Skyping or WhatsApping or wankety-wooing here with somebody on another channel, then that's the channel to naturally use. All right? Don't start up another whole communication channel. We're using LinkedIn and Facebook to find people and identify who they are so that we can reach out across all kinds of channels here. And maybe we'd start with one and move to another. Darn, the LinkedIn message didn't work. I'll try email next. See what I mean? So there's plenty of folks that we know that we should be connected to on LinkedIn, but we're not. For some reason, they fell through the cracks. They didn't invite us. We didn't invite them. Hallelujah. I have a cure for this, and it's really quick and easy and fun. We're going to point LinkedIn to our Gmail or our Outlook. There's just a couple clicks and boom, we pull in our Gmail contacts, our Outlook contacts, or even upload a CSV file, no less. And LinkedIn will match up that email address with all 600 and some million, 700 million profiles, and see the matches here. And let you choose who you want to, with just a few clicks, reach out to with a blank, empty invitation. This invitation does not have any text in it because these people already know you. That's the definition here. Folks you know. The folks you don't know is another time and place. This is the prescription program. The folks you don't know are coming up, by the way. So there's other folks in our lives that are important to us. We have business cards from them. We care about them. We can find them on LinkedIn individually and invite them to connect as well. We've done our email now, and we've done our business cards, and we've scratched our memory a little bit here. And we found these folks to connect with. We've got to find them by name now. We got to find them by name. We connect up with them. Once again, no message. No message at all. And now we've got new connections. We got new connections on the block. What happens when you invite a lot of people? A bunch of them connect, right? A bunch of them connect. And they connect and they show up here. They show up under new connections, recently added new connections, no less. And it's here, from here, that we'll look them up on LinkedIn, look them up on Facebook, on their timeline photo, on their timeline area up there. Look at their photos and their pictures and what they're talking about on Facebook, and then use that information to come back over here and send some of these folks, some of these new connections on the block, we'll send some of them a message. And we've prepared a nice message already, a template message, a standard message that says the stuff you see here that's not in red. But the stuff in red we add in that's specific to every person so they know this message is just for them. It may have started out for a lot of other people too, but how would Jane feel? She would, she's the specificness here, okay? Jane's safe, Carlson Travel. Hey, Minneapolis, big company here. I would be very concerned in a crisis here if my wife was named Jane and she worked at Carlson Travel. Very concerned. So you'll realize in doing this that some folks are just really busy. They're not going to see your message. They're not going to be able to respond back. It's a bit, I want to call it a numbers game a little bit, but some folks are just going to be too busy. They got too much going on. So in dealing with responders, and there will be many responders here, we want to look at what they say in their response. They're saying something. Remember our message about Jane. Okay? We want to acknowledge that in our message and then push to see if we can't catch up. Have a call, have a Zoom call, something like that, if you're not too zoomed out. However you work this, the goal is to have a one-on-one some way, and you can't do it in person probably right now. Acknowledgement about what they said is the key part here. So, what's going to happen, and maybe it's happening now, maybe it's happening and it's going to go away. Who knows what's going to happen, but we're going to eventually rise above, okay? These clouds that are over us, even it's sunny today as I do this, there's sort of this cloud over us. It's called a very high unemployment rate and lots of people getting sick and dying, okay? But we're going to rise above it. We're going to say, here comes the sun. Well, I won't sing the song there, but you get the idea that something great is going to happen. And when it does, in Minnesota, we'll call that hunting, fishing, and trapping season. No, but the equivalent is we're going to find folks that we don't know. We're going to get our hunter mentality out. Sales and marketing people got to find new clients. Okay, we've already farmed what we know. There's plenty of farming techniques already. This is hunting. And hunting in this case means strangers, people we don't know, 2s and 3s on LinkedIn, as we say. You would be non-friends on Facebook if that was the approach. We're not going to be reaching out to folks on Facebook, though. This is just LinkedIn here, other than to do research, right? The process of reaching out to new folks is called LinkedIn campaigns. So I'll explain what happens kind of at a microscopic level and then at a macroscopic level as well. So at a macroscopic level, here we go. Certain people, certain targets, call it a list, a search, get sent certain messages, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three or more. We call that a campaign. These people get sent this. It's all through the LinkedIn messaging system, connection requests and messages. The most common system or process that we see is this right here. We find new targets. We search. If we have Sales Navigator, we can get very, very discreet with our targeting. Okay. But even with LinkedIn, just tremendous what you can do. Okay. We're going to send folks an invitation to connect. Hey, let's connect up. Okay. Nothing more. In this case here, when in a campaign, we are generally sending a connection request message. It's not blank like before. Those were folks we already knew. These are folks we don't already know. So there really is a message that goes out for a connection request. Some of these folks will connect, 20, 25%, kind of on average. You can't control when they log in or what's going on in their busy lives. And if you see extremely high connect rates somewhere out there, that's using targeting that's based on people that are liking or commenting or sharing lists of folks that are showing they're on LinkedIn all the time. That's not this kind of targeting. These folks, may be busy, may not see your connection request message for quite a while in many cases. But the ones that do connect are going to receive a message or more from you. And guess what? Some will respond, and we shall respond back to the responders. All right. So the targets, let's dive a little deep down into this. This is what a search looks like on LinkedIn for a typical decision maker process. Minneapolis area, we've got these IT sort of industries here, perhaps information IoT products or so. We're not connected. They're 2s and 3s. They've got titles, high-level titles at the company. There you go. Okay. So in Sales Navigator, it looks a little different. We've got better filters. This one in particular is a really dandy one right here. Okay. But other things you can use, like show me all the decision makers, the CXOs and the owners and stuff. Show me states. You can't do states with LinkedIn. You can only do cities and countries. The years of experience, once again, that's only here. So the messages, on the other hand, are pretty universal, whether you got LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. We've got a connection request. Hey, let's connect. We've got a welcome message. Hey, let me tell you what I can do for you. This is the most basic format, the basic 1-2, they would say, of a campaign. So as we engage people in campaigns, this is kind of what it looks like. Invite them to connect. Some connect. We send a message, maybe more. Okay. You can do the first 3 items here manually, very easily. It's when you get into the messages afterwards, it gets a little difficult. So there's 2 methods of doing these campaigns. And I said manually, that's this part where you invite, connect, message. You can do that pretty effectively manually. It doesn't scale. It doesn't scale as well as doing things in an automated way, but you can totally do the same amount of messages manually as you can automated. At this level, it's where you start doing things afterwards, because these automated campaigns versus the manual campaigns, they can run a pre-programmed script that has another message and another message and another message and so on. You've probably seen those from folks where they seem to be dripping you stuff, right? This is what it looks like. So on the left is a manual campaign, okay? And it's custom. You're logged into LinkedIn, you're doing your stuff just like you are now. You can go a little faster, great targeting, the connection request, the welcome message afterwards, all the things I talked about. That same stuff can be used in an automated way by getting an automation tool that runs in the cloud. So it actually provisions a computer that's logged into you that does that stuff without occupying your computer at all. It's a wonderful thing. If you need to scale it up, automation's wonderful. I know a little bit about that, you could say. So people are going to respond here just like before, and you're going to reach out to them just like before. You got that same message, right? So whether it's people you know or people you don't know, when they respond back anything, let's follow up just like we talked about before. You know, not much new there. Now somebody's going to do this stuff. Somebody. Who is that? Who is that? Well, that's you. All right, you at least need to do this and get it going. Okay, you need to understand the principles of this before someone else, like an assistant or a vendor or some combination of folks, can pick up some of these duties for you. There can be a lot to this, or there can be just a little bit to it. Prioritization and a little bit of training really help guide you through the process. They really help a lot. So there's free resources that we have, great free resources. We'll start with a 5-page document from the book here. It has the whole blueprint for what to do. The friends, empathy, barter principle, just like what we described. Okay. There's also this video here on this site, or a little more modern version of it even perhaps someday, but the prescription for a crisis site here that you'll see at the end that you can get to has all of this stuff on it. The profile info guide that I promised you, a industry list from LinkedIn. You can't see all the industries that LinkedIn has, but through this list here that I provide at the site, no problem at all. How to manage your busy inbox. How to do campaigns in a white paper. It's a 20-page white paper, very detailed. You saw some images from it here. And lots more at this site that I'll show at the end here. So I do coaching for individuals, train sales teams in these processes, and we even do some outbound campaign services using just the kind of principles we talked about here. So this is the place to get everything. NavigatingLinkedIn.com is where you can book a call. You can get all of that free stuff that I described there. You can get the book 5-pager there. You can see the video there, everything at NavigatingLinkedIn.com, or get a hold of me here via email. So I hope this helped you get through a crisis, getting through the hard part of it, coming out of it where we're aimed up high. We're not filling in or backfilling. We've got our positive attitude going forward. No matter where you are in the continuum, this process will help a lot. So I'm Mike O'Neill, your host and your expert here. Look forward to chatting with some of you someday soon.